Welcome back to the build. Taking a little break from being outside where we were doing the porch and deck railing. It was about 72 degrees on New Year's Day a week ago, and now it is below freezing at night and not very much above freezing during the day. So I decided to switch gears a little bit, move inside, and start building out this main staircase from the first floor to the second floor loft. If you watched the video I did on the stairs that I did in the basement, those turned out really well. I'd never done it before. And in this one, I've never done skirt boards before, so we're going to do the same thing as in the basement, only we're going to put skirt boards here on the side. Everything's stained except for the skirt boards, so I got to sand those, stain them, poly everything, and then I'll be able to cut and fit and install everything here. Right now we just have temporary construction stairs, which are just 2x6s, and all we really have to do is pull these treads off, fasten our skirt boards, which is cool because I'm not having to cut this as a template and match it to existing stairs. We framed this to where the stringers leave us enough room on each side where we can just tuck the skirt board down in there, so that saves us a ton of time. So hopefully I'll be able to bang this out in the next couple of days, and if you ever wanted to build stairs, this is how I'm doing mine, so hopefully this helps some of you. Today's episode is sponsored by Green Chef. Let's get to work. So if you have a sander and you have a shop vac, then you've got yourself a dust collector. Just get yourself one of these 30-foot hoses. You can put all your shop vac attachments on it, and it comes with all the little adapters that allow you to hook that hose to your sander. It's 30 feet long, so you don't have to move your shop vac around, and it's really handy when you want to vacuum up the floor. You can just walk around and not have to move the shop vac. Boom. All right, that was quick and easy. Sanding is done. I've oriented these boards. These are 1x12s, just pine. Oriented them crown up, as you can see, by the growth rings here, and then I marked where I want the tops to be. Like this is the top right end as you're looking up the staircase, and this will be the bottom left end as you're looking up the staircase. This board will basically be oriented like that as you're looking up. And the reason I did that is there's a couple little imperfections on this side, right on this side, and those will be tucked down underneath the stair treads, so you won't be able to see them, but otherwise this is a pretty nice board. Places like this with little checks, I'm thinking I'm going to fill that with CA glue, let it dry, and resand it before I polyurethane. But I'm going to get to that now. I'm going to break out the stain and try and get these to match that, which it does in the basement, because these stairs turned out pretty nice. All right, everything's cleaned off with a tack rag, vacuumed and everything, got all the dust off. Now we're going to break out the pre-stain. Next, we'll do a coat of Minwax oil-based espresso. Next, I'm going to warm this up with a little bit of red mahogany. So I was able to get one coat of poly sprayed on and let it dry overnight. The next day it was calling for rain though, so I have to switch to a brush and do this inside because I can't spray inside and I need to keep moving, so gotta do what we gotta do. Turned out pretty good. First coat of poly is on and dry. This is one thing I don't really like about brushing, is it's hard to get a very even coat, but definitely gonna have to sand all these little bumps off with some 220, and then we will do a final coat. nice and smooth. Day 4 of the interior staircase build. It's day 4 because it takes that long for us to get the finish correct. Sand, stain, tack rag, poly, wait for it to dry a day, and then sand, poly, as many times as you need to. We got 2 coats of heavy coats on here because we used a brush. Because it's so cold outside, we can't spray. And I got 3 coats of heavy poly on the treads because they get more traffic. It is 25 degrees, 26 degrees outside. It's about 47 degrees in here, so I'm glad we decided to move inside. I'm gonna start with these skirt boards, figure out my angles I need to cut, and I have to account for some electrical cable that goes through the stringers. That was the only place we could run it when we were trying to wire this place up. So I will have to cut some notches to fit this around that cable. I don't want to set it right down onto a cable. So, turned out great, nice satin finish. I'm going to get started cutting, measuring, and installing this staircase. But before we do, check out what we're cooking up with today's sponsor, Green Chef. Green Chef is a USDA certified organic company that makes eating well easy and affordable with options to fit every kind of lifestyle. Green Chef's wide variety of premium organic ingredients are just the ticket to feeling balanced, energized, and revitalized throughout the year. Whether you like keto, paleo, vegan, gluten-free, vegetarian, fast and fit, or Mediterranean, Green Chef has an option for every lifestyle to have a delicious but balanced meal. Recipes are easy to follow with step-by-step instructions, photos, and chef tips to guide you along. I like that the ingredients come pre-measured, perfectly portioned, and mostly prepped. As busy as we are right now, there's a lot less time to figure out what to have for dinner, go to the grocery store, shop for the ingredients, cook, eat, and clean up. So for us, a few nights a week, Green Chef makes the whole thing easier with dinner options that work around our lifestyle, not the other way around. Go to greenchef.us and use code GuildbrookFarm130 to get $130 off plus free shipping on your first box. First thing we have to do for these skirt boards is figure out our stair angle. And to do that, there are a bunch of different ways. I've watched YouTube videos with guys who have levels that have built-in digital angle readouts. I don't have that. I have an old school 4-foot level, and I have a bevel gauge, which is a classic tool. Now, bevel gauge, I'm going to get it to where it's basically at a 90 and tighten it. Not super tight, but tight enough that it'll kind of hold. And I'm going to put the base onto the stringer so it's nice and flat. Take the level and make it plumb and push that gauge down onto the level. Right there's plumb. And now hold that tight and push the bevel gauge so that it butts right up against that. Then pull it off, tighten this down. Now we need to find out what that angle is. Well, how do you do that? Well, you can use a protractor. You can probably lay it on your table saw and figure it out, but if you got an iPhone or a smartphone, they typically have a level built in. Set that bad boy on there. Set this like that, so that's perfectly level. I'm gonna try and angle this. All right, so we're at 36 degrees. That is a 36 degree stair angle. And that's how I've been doing it, and it's been working. Now you can also take this, so there's your 0 degrees level. Take that, stick it on there, 36. Same measurement as we just did with the manual tools. So I'm going to call that a 36 degree stair angle. Now the next thing you would typically do is figure out the offset from the nosing to the top of the skirt board. Typically what people do, I've seen, is they just lay their level down and scribe that top to the wall. Levels are 2 1/4 inches, so that would give you a 2 1/4 inch offset. So we could do that, and that would look fine. If we take that measurement between the stringer and the top of the level, that's 11 inches. And that's fine. Our board we're using is a 1x12, which is actually 11 1/4 inches. And I'm just going to use that because the distance between the stringer here and the top of this drywall is exactly 11 1/4 inches. So I'm going to have that entire string or stretch of drywall covered by skirt board. And then when I go to do my railings, I'll just put this top piece of board on, and it'll be a nice clean finish. I won't have to do any weird trim or anything like that. So we don't have to do this step and rip a 1/4 inch off of our skirt board to get 2 1/4 inches here. We're just going to go ahead and make it a full 11 1/4, and it'll look fine. And I won't have to do anything over there. So now we have to figure out our vertical plumb cut, and that is this here, that is going to match the vertical cut of the riser. And that is that 36-degree stair angle. So if this is sitting like that, lined up with the bottom of the skirt board, this 36-degree angle that we measured is actually that plumb cut. Now your next cut that you need to figure out is the horizontal cut, because this corner right here is going to come down and hit the floor, but your floor is actually here. So we need to take off enough material here that would typically just go down in through the subfloor. We have to make that horizontal cut, and we have to do the same thing on the top. Horizontal cut like that. Basically, you just take 90 and subtract your angle, your stair angle, which is 36, and that's going to be 54. So my horizontal is 54 degrees. And my plumb cut is 36 degrees. All right, so before I go and cut a very expensive skirt board, I made a template, and I'm taking my angle finder thingy, and that's my 36-degree plumb cut. And I measured in 4 5/8, which is the distance from the front of the skirt board to where the stringer stops. And this line represents the floor. So that's the 36-degree cut. This is the 54-degree cut. And as I said, your horizontal cut is basically 90 degrees minus your plumb cut. So 90 degrees minus 36 is this 54. This angle gauge is set at 54. And if you kind of, there you go. So I'm going to cut this and then fit it to the wall and make sure it works. And then I'll use this as a template to make my cut onto my board. It's overkill, but I want to make doubly sure that this is right before I start cutting this board. Here's our template. I'm going to lay this onto the stringer, slide it until the horizontal cut hits the floor, right there. And those angles look to be pretty good. Just to double check, we'll measure from the nosing to the skirt, and that's 2 3/4, and that's 2 3/4. Now the next thing we have to figure out is how far out this needs to come and how far down this angle needs to come to match up with our baseboard. We're going to be using a 1x6 baseboard, which is 5 1/2 inches. Add a 1/4 inch for the thickness of the finished floor, so we'll have 5 3/4 inches. So I'm going to come over here and measure up 5 3/4 to where our baseboard would be, kind of in this area here. Take my straight edge, lay it on that, and meet those two lines. So where those two lines intersect, the skirt board needs to come out to there. So if I measure from where that is now to that intersection at 6 1/4, and in order to get that 6 1/4, we got to add more floor. Oh, here's the new template. It comes down to where the baseboard will meet it. That's our bottom. Now I got to figure out the top. All right, got all my lines cut or drawn, and I got the spaces marked that I need to cut out for those electrical wires. That's right there, electrical wire cut out. And then that's the square cut. the plumb cut, and the horizontal cut. I think it's good. I'm not gonna know until I cut it. So here we go. All right, all the cuts are made. Now it's the moment of truth. See if she fits. Had to take out a couple of these temporary treads because they were too close to the wall and the board wouldn't fit down in there. So now we're gonna see if she works. Oof. I'm guessing that worked. Oh, look at that. And that falls dead on my little mark. Awesome. So I cut a bunch of cardboard to use as tread protectors as I install these treads. I want to keep them looking nice. All right, I'm going to start with this first riser and this first tread. Riser first, tread up against the riser, then I can pin from the back into the riser and the tread. This is the stair jig I made when I did the basement steps, and it has come in super handy because everything is not always perfectly square, although that looks pretty darn good. Yep, see there's a little bit of an angle there. And we want this to be tight. So you tighten that up there. Get these legs at the right angle as, all right, pull it out. And you do the same thing when you cut treads. I made a little video about this if you want to see it. I'll leave a link. So the top of the riser width is 43 1/2. The bottom of the riser width is 43 1/8. That's 3/8 difference. It kind of flares up like that. In order to get a good perfect fit, this is what I do. So I'm going to transpose this onto my riser and cut it. Somebody in the last video commented on my pencil on a string. It's just a little reel. Super handy. I'm going to go ahead and scribe this where my cut lines need to go. Put that aside, cut these there. The treads have to be at least 10 inches deep without a nosing. And if they do have a nosing, they have to be at least 11 inches deep. That nosing has to project at least 3/4 of an inch over the riser, but no more than 1 1/4 inches over the riser. Building code is very specific about this, so that you get used to how stairs are. That's how stairs should be everywhere. Otherwise, you're falling up the stairs. I am cutting about a 2.5 degree back bevel on these rips. So when we lay the stair tread down, it's got some room. I'm going to do the same thing with the left and right side of the risers, so they'll tuck right in there and fit perfectly. So I got these little aluminum L brackets with the aluminum columns for the porch when we did that video, but I didn't need them for that project, but they're turning out to be super handy for this. Get that angle. Go ahead and flush this up with this end, scribe this end. Now, as I mentioned, I'm cutting a 2.5 degree bevel, so when I go to fit it, I put this side in, and that side slides in nice, and it doesn't hit on this back edge, and you never see it, so. Ooh, wire. Put the square side in, then the beveled side. Yeah, there's definitely a little bit of a, this is a little bit proud, so that's going to make that bow a little wee bit, and I'm going to end up having to scribe this tread, I think. I'm shooting it here because it'll be covered by the tread once I do that part. Yep, definitely going to have to scribe that. See how that sort of pivots on that center? Easily 1/8 of an inch gap on each side. So here's my scribe line. So this is not one of the more fun parts. Whew, perfect. Man, what a difference. Here's a little hack. Some weight on it. Till it dries. That's good. Treads, risers, and skirt boards are complete. Went together pretty well. Really like the look of this wood, matches everything else. No major problems. Got some clamps here holding the tread down while the glue is drying, and that seems to be working really well. And then I'll take those off when it's dry, put the rest of the cardboard on the treads to protect them, and we'll be pretty good to go. This video is getting a little long, so we're going to save the railing part for another time when we do the newel posts, this cap here, maybe a little skirt on this side, railing, balusters. I still have to figure out exactly what I want that to look like and how I want to put that together. I know that I don't necessarily want to buy box newel posts from like Lowe's because they're real expensive and I don't really like the way they look. So I'm going to figure that out over the next week or so, and we'll make that the next video. I appreciate you guys watching. Like, subscribe if this was helpful for you, and we'll see you next time.